Well, I'm back. I just went through my mail. 70 some odd letters. But I got a phone now. It's better than before. Here's my mom's picture again. I had to go on the computer and download all my photos. Phone numbers came automatically. Something called Cloud that I even forgot I signed up for it. So I didn't lose anything except money, but money don't mean a thing to me. Respect does. Anyways, flashback. 73, 74. I was stationed at Andrews Air Force Base. I re-enlisted first part of 73, and Marine Corps said, well, the reserves are getting F4s, F4Bs, and Gene, we're going to send you there. Well, I arrived at Andrews. They had F8s. They got rid of all the F8s like 3 weeks before I got there. And during those 3 weeks, the main tires has got this thing called a heat shield. It's just a metal thing that goes around the inside of the tire. It's mandatory being on the tire. But the F8 wheel doesn't have that thing called a heat shield. It's just a piece of metal that distributes heat evenly through the brake. But anyways, they had a sergeant in charge. I was nothing but a corporal. But we had a sergeant in charge that decided it's a lot easier to put the tires on if you pull that heat shield off and throw it away. Well, I got to work. I was about halfway checking in. I was assigned to the flight line. And as I was walking out there, I noticed this one young kid pulling the heat shield off. You know, he had a screwdriver and he's forcing the heat shield out of this tire. And I walked up to him and I said, what are you doing? Oh, this has to come off before we put it on the airplane. Huh? When did this change happen? So I went into the flight line, introduced myself, gave him my check-in sheet. And what's going on out there? That heat shield is mandatory to be on that tire. Oh, well, we take it off because it's easier to put the tire. Hey, that's bullshit. You know, come on. Jesus, give it the program. Yeah, I looked over and I seen this corporal that I knew previous. You know, it's been a couple years. We were PFCs together. So I looked at him and he looked at me and he goes, hey, Gene, hey. How about you going out there and checking all the tires? Give me a list. I'm going into maintenance control. Well, he went out and they had 12 airplanes, 24 tires. 18 of them didn't have heat shields in them. You got to be kidding me. Honest to Pete. You know, I grabbed a bunch of maps, wrote it up, missing heat shield. You know, safety of flight item. Down's the airplane. You know, I took the maps into maintenance control and gave them to the staff sergeant in there. And he started assigning JCNs to him. And then he read them. And he goes, what's going on? And I said, the damn fools are taking the heat shields out of the tires. Well, that staff sergeant went and got some warrant officer. Turned out to be the maintenance officer for the reserve element. Well, this gunner came out, told me not to worry about it. Excuse me? That is a safety of flight. Ha! I'm not going to be a party to this. You will do what you are told. Ah, bullshit. So I went straight into the tech reps. Well, come to find out, I knew one of the tech reps from Vietnam, Jack. And I told Jack what was going on out there. He looked at me and he goes, "You have got to be kidding me." And I said, "Nope. 18 out of 24. Holy mackerel." Okay, Gene. I'll brief the skipper. Okay. Thanks, Jack. I left and checked in the rest of the day. Next morning I went to work because I was all checked in. I walk into the line shack and I'm told to go see the warrant officer. Okay. Well, I went in and I seen the warrant officer. Well, the warrant officer looked at me and he goes, "We don't do things here the way you did it yesterday. We go through this office." And I looked at him and I went, "It was brought to your attention, Gutter. You passed it off like it was nothing instead of safety of flight." So I took it to the tech reps. "Well, from now on, you're going to tell me what you're going to do." And I looked at him and I said, "Over my dead body." And I turned around and walked out. Yeah, I went back to the flight line. Phone rang. The sergeant answered the phone, looked at me and said, "I'm supposed to go in and see the XO." Okay. I went in and seen the XO. Come to find out, the XO is a captain that I served with in VMFA 115. And when I reported into him, he goes, "Jane, we're waiting for the warrant officer to come in, but I have to play it military." And I said, "Okay, that's fine." Well, the gunner showed up and the captain popped up and said, "Well, I've talked to Corporal Taylor. I've also talked to the tech reps. Corporal Taylor is going to be recommended for a letter of proficiency. And I'm going to assign him 4040 pro and con as a special thing for him saving the lives of those pilots flying those airplanes. Corporal Taylor, you're dismissed." "Aye, aye, sir." Turned around and walked out. And when I shut the door, I stood outside. That captain read that warrant officer an ass chewing like you wouldn't believe. Well, the tech rep got a hold of McDonnell Douglas and they shipped overnight 18 tires, and I gave lessons. I didn't do it. The corporal that I sent out there to check the 18, he didn't do any of the tires. Every man that pulled that heat shield got very good at changing tires. We spent 14 hours that day doing nothing but changing tires, and they had to do it all. That corporal and I just stood around and watched. Now they had a sergeant major that we were having an IG, you know, PFT, IG inspection and that kind of stuff. And I was there about 4 months when this thing came through. Naturally, I got a noteworthy on my uniform as a corporal. But there was 3 other corporals. And we all looked alike. I mean, we all looked alike. Sergeant Major had a brainstorm that we're going to be his color guard. He spent money on dress blues, with the gold buttons, the gold junk. And you talk of drilling us. He drilled us senseless. 2 hours a night, 5 nights a week. And it was 1 hour of regular shift time and then 1 hour of overtime. And we were good. We had a change of command one time. I was the right-hand rifleman. And what you do is you kick your heel, which hits the bottom of the, we had M1s, and it kicked it so you could spin it and poke, you know. We were good at it. Well, we had a change of command. This major was running a little bit late, and it was our time to port arms. Well, when my rifle was kicked out, he busted his ankle. His foot came down my rifle, bam, right in the ankle. He went flat on his. Oh, it didn't disrupt us at all. We just kept Marine Corps fashion. I found out after the change of command that, you know, he ended up being carried off, and I seen him the next day. He had a cast on his ankle. He said it was preventive. He's going to be wearing it for 6 weeks. Yeah, I busted it. That's right. I busted it. But anyways, due to the licensing I had, I was also, you know, there was about 4 of us. Not the same 4 as the color guard. It was different of us. We all had sedan driver's license. So we always had to make trips over to CMC for the reserve element and play games with CMC. Now that's when I found out that the girls at CMC were used as prostitutes for the senators and congressmen and the upper floor of the Watergate Hotel, which goes along with my story a couple years later when I went through Staff Academy. So anyways, that's just more tidbit of information. And with that, I had fun with the reserves. So, have a good day. I'm looking at 13 minutes and 5 seconds.